Hey friends! Welcome back to our channel. My name is Lynn Allure. If you are new here, on this channel we talk a lot about self-improvement, personal finances, making money, saving money, investing money, and overall just being a better you. So if you enjoy conversations like that, definitely subscribe and join the party. So I asked on Instagram what type of videos you guys wanted to see next, and I got a lot of responses saying make a video on how to buy your first house or the steps I took to buy my first house, and I'll definitely be doing a video on that because as some of you guys know, I did buy my first home on my own when I was 25, and so I will be definitely doing a video on that. But before I even put that video out there, I wanted to make a video regarding credit and the importance of having great credit, because having a good credit score, having great credit history played a salient role in me securing a mortgage loan. You could have the down payment, you can have great debt to income ratio, but if you have a bad credit score, it's going to be difficult to secure a loan with a tier 1 mortgage lender. You don't only need great credit for buying a home, although that is one of the things that you need great credit for. You do need it for also renting a home, for leasing a home. When I was putting tenants in my home, I definitely checked their credit score. When I was leasing, I got my credit checked. If you want to buy a car and finance it, you can definitely buy a car, finance it with bad credit. There are many different dealers who offer that, but the interest rate is going to be basura, trash, garbage. It's going to be a bad interest rate if you have bad credit. Surprisingly enough, certain employers require you to get a credit check in order to be employed at their establishment. I've had to get my personal credit checked twice for 2 different roles that I've had in different institutions. One as a financial analyst and another time as a project accountant. I had to get my personal credit checked, and it's not only corporate office jobs where you're dealing with finances, but also if you have a hands-on job where you're going into people's homes, where you're dealing with large high value assets, you're going into estates, or you're going around very valuable items like an electrician, a carpenter, or a plumber. Certain businesses require that their employees get personal credit checks in order to be employed. So having great credit is super important. I know a lot of people like to act like cash is king and cash is everything. Cash is king, but credit is power. And if you have power, you have more freedom and more opportunities to leverage cash and do other things. So credit is not a bad thing, and it's not something to be afraid of. A lot of people run from getting credit cards or increasing their credit limit or accepting lines of credits that they've been approved of. They're definitely good things to have if you just use that relationship with your credit responsibly. Now, with all that being said, the amazing thing about credit is if you have bad credit now, it 100% doesn't need to stay bad. There are multiple different ways and different steps that you can take in order to improve your credit, in order to start improving it right away. I personally know people who have gone from terrible credit to very good credit in a fairly short amount of time. So the great thing is that you can 100% start to improve your credit. Within a short amount of time, you'll be able to see an improvement in your credit score. And another very noteworthy statement I should make is that you don't need to pay someone in order to improve your credit. You can choose to hire a credit repair company or seek out some sort of credit repair service. There's only one instance that I would recommend possibly hiring someone to fix the credit, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So now that we're all briefed on the importance of credit, we're going to jump right into these steps, these tips, these tricks in order to improve your credit. But first, if you haven't already, smash that like button because it really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps me to know which kind of videos you guys like to see. It helps YouTube to know that you guys are feeling these videos. It helps more people to see these kind of videos. So if you haven't already, definitely hit that like button. All right, so tip number 1 is to create a Credit Karma account. So if you're in the States, creditkarma.com. If you're in Canada, creditkarma.ca. Now, Credit Karma is a free service that allows you to see the current standings of your credit history. It lets you see your credit score, open accounts, your payment history, credit inquiries. It's your overall credit profile summarized. Now, it isn't the official credit score from TransUnion or Equifax, but it's the closest thing to that. It's also a free service, and you're able to monitor it as many times as you'd like without it affecting your credit score. Now, having a service like this is amazing because you're able to see what is affecting your credit score, what accounts have been reported as delinquent, if you have any collections accounts open. So you're able to see an overall summary of your current credit profile, and you're able to monitor your account. There's no guarantee that it's going to be exactly what TransUnion or Equifax has reported. However, the funny thing is that what TransUnion and Equifax has reported sometimes aren't even aligned anyways. The only difference with Credit Karma is that you don't have to pay for it monthly. You don't have to pay for it at all. And the pro to that is that you can check it as many times as you want, and it's not even a hit to your credit. So that's awesome. I definitely would recommend that everyone signs up for a Credit Karma profile, and you don't need to be apprehensive about creating an account because it's not a sponsored video. It's not sponsored by Credit Karma. Not that I would recommend that you guys sign up for something just because it's sponsored. I would obviously do my due diligence. I'm just a huge fan of Credit Karma. I monitor my credit all the time. Great profile to have, great tool. Definitely recommend open a Credit Karma account. So tip number 2 is to only spend 30% of your credit limit. Now that's the rule of thumb, and that's the most commonly used rule of thumb regarding your credit. For example, if your credit limit is $10,000, 30% of that would be $3,000. So never go over that $3,000 mark. However, there's actually a very magical number that they say is how you get excellent credit, not just good credit, but excellent credit, is to only use 7% of your available credit. So on a $10,000 limit, that would be $700 maximum. So definitely stick to only using 30% or less. If you can, 7% or less to have excellent credit, but do not start maxing out your credit cards or going close to the credit card limit, because that shows creditors that you are exhausting all resources possible. You don't have any cash of your own and you're relying on your credit card. Although you might pay it off in full every single month, when that credit card statement gets reported, you have a balance that shows this month you had zero cash and you needed to exhaust all your credit resources. So in order to combat that, number 1, I would say to pay down your credit cards and then subsequently increase your credit card limits. If your cash flow every month permits you to spend approximately $5,000 on miscellaneous expenses and day-to-day expenses, then your credit card limit should be at least $15,000 so that every month you're still below that 30%. Which brings me to my next tip, which is to pay off your credit cards entirely if you can, and pay them before the statement date. Now, this is understandable if you have a large amount of credit card debt and you're working towards paying it. I completely understand that paying it off in full is not an option. You can pay it down, you will pay it down, you've got this. But once you do pay it down, just remember that credit card debt is meant for short-term debt. Credit cards are not there to be maxed out and then take 2 or 3 years to pay them off. Having a balance on a credit card doesn't serve you any purposes because the interest rate is so high. Certain credit cards have a compound interest, meaning every month the interest is on everything that's on that credit card, the entire balance of that credit card, not just the last 21 days of purchases. And then also, it doesn't look too great on your credit report. All right, so when you pay off your credit card in full every month, what I love to do is I pay my credit card before the statement date. Although you might say to yourself, well, I pay off my credit card in full every month. It doesn't matter how much I spend. I max it out every month, but I pay it off in full every month. That is not conducive to improving your credit score because your creditors don't see that zero balance. They only see what is reported to them by your bank or by that credit card institution on the statement date. So look at your credit card statement and make the payment about 2 or 3 days before the statement date so that when they do report it, it shows the lower balance or it shows a zero balance. All right, so this next credit card hack is one of my favorite credit card hacks. I love sharing with anybody who will listen, anyone who wants to talk credit with me. I'm like, did you know that you can be an authorized user on somebody's account? So basically how this works is, first of all, the credit card needs to be open for at least 2 years. It also has to have a great payment history, so there aren't any late payments on that credit card. It's been open for at least 2 years. When you become an authorized user on that person's account, that credit card account now becomes an account on your credit profile. And it takes about 60 days for it to instantly improve your credit score. But what you've got to do as soon as you receive that credit card is activate it, because a lot of people forget to activate it. They're like, oh, well, I'm an authorized user, but they don't activate the credit card. This could be someone like a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a significant other. Now listen, let's have a coming close. Let's talk about this. Now, if you are going to put a significant other on your account, don't say that your good sis Lynn Allure told you to do it, okay? Because this, you got to use your own discretion. You've got to use your better judgment. You've got to use that gift of discernment that you have. And know if this is someone that you can trust with being on your credit, whether it's your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Yeah, because once you do marry someone, you guys don't instantly have merged credit. You could still have a separate account from your husband or wife and decide to put them onto one of your previous credit cards in order to help them boost their credit as well. But all I'm saying is that, God forbid, knock on wood, something happens in your relationship, and then all of a sudden now you see all these charges at Saks, at Nordstrom, at Whole Renfrew, at Bloomingdale's. Listen, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it because they are an authorized user on that credit card. So just be mindful of putting people onto your credit accounts to help them with their credit, and also be mindful and considerate, very considerate and appreciative if someone else puts you onto their credit account to help you with your credit, because it's a very, very big deal. If you mess up someone's credit, you're messing up their access and the ability to make certain financial moves for themselves. So that's a big, big deal. And I'll tell you, if someone messes up my credit out, that's a big deal. But that's something that will instantly boost your credit. Within about 2 months, you'll definitely see an increase as long as that credit account was in good standing. It's been open for at least 2 years and there is no late payments on the credit card. So this is something that I'm going to be personally doing with my kids. I mean, I don't have any kids yet and I'm not even married actually, but when I finally do have kids, that's something that I'm definitely going to be doing with them, because that's how people at 18 could have credit history of over 25 years and they haven't even been alive for 25 years. That's because a parent or an establishment puts them on a credit card account as an authorized user the moment they're able to qualify for credit. So when my child, who has not been born yet or hasn't been conceived yet, turns 18, I'm going to be putting them onto one of my credit cards that I had since I was 18. And that credit card has been open for many years, has 0 late payments on it, and has a great credit history, so that my child at 18 has a credit history of at least 26 years before they've even turned 21. So if you are a parent, that's something that you can definitely do to help your child to have great credit when they're first starting out and they're establishing their credit. One thing you can do is activate the credit card but keep the credit card so that they don't have access to that credit card and they're not making nonsense purchases at the age of 18. Some of us just haven't really honed in on those comprehension skills yet to realize that these credit cards aren't just free money. All right, so the next tip is to not make late payments. And I know this is pretty obvious, but it actually makes a huge difference and it's a really big deal, especially when you are applying for things like a mortgage loan. Late payments is a big deal because they want to be able to see that you have a great history and a great relationship with other lenders. So one thing for me that I actually didn't even realize was that my phone bill was connected to my credit. And I'd had my same phone account since I was 16 years old, and I had been paying it myself since I was 16 as well. But often my phone company would mess up and charge me way higher than what I was supposed to be paying, and I wasn't set up for automatic payments. And so I would just wait to call them because I was like, oh, if I call these people, I'm going to be on the phone with them for like an hour for them to resolve this. So the thought of calling in to resolve those issues gave me anxiety, and I would procrastinate and put it off. And next thing you know, I haven't paid that phone bill and a new phone bill has come out. And then they would report to the credit bureau that I was delinquent on payments, that I was over 30 days late. But the reason why that's such a big deal is because creditors look at things like that and say, okay, if you can't handle a $60 phone bill, you can't handle a $6,000 credit card, what makes you think that you'll be able to handle this $600,000 mortgage? If you can't pay those on time, why would you pay your mortgage on time? So they do look at late payments and they take that very seriously when you are applying for mortgage loans. So do not make late payments. I know that sometimes you have so much going on and it's the last thing on your brain. You know, you have rent, you have school, you have work, you have children, and sometimes you just completely forget. But if you have to set up automatic payments or put reminders on your phone or put stickies on your mirror, do something to remind you to pay your credit cards on time. Pay all of your bills on time, your light bill, your student loans, your phone bill, everything that deserves a payment, everything that you have a contract to pay, make sure that you're paying every month. Paying even the minimum payment on that is way better than paying 0. So just make sure that you are making payments and you're making them on time. If you do happen to have late payments on accounts that are open and active, such as an active phone bill, light bill, credit card bill, what you can do is call them to have them remove those delinquent payments. For me, with my phone bill accounts, I definitely called the company and I told them, hey, this is the reason why I wasn't paying on time. You guys can even go back and look at the phone histories and see that I was on the phone with you guys for over an hour, and you guys ended up removing those charges every single time. And that's just why I was apprehensive to call, and I needed to schedule in time to have an hour phone call with my phone service provider. It's unacceptable. But at the end of the day, I have such a long history with you guys. I just need this delinquent payment to be off of my record. I am still doing business with you. My accounts are still open, and I did make those payments essentially. So if we could work together to get those payments removed, I greatly appreciate it. They had a bit of a process. I had to call a certain department, I had to send in an email, and essentially those were removed from my account. So you can get those late payments removed off of open and active accounts by calling them and just explaining the situation and going through their processes if they have any. Mind you, not every single company has this, but a lot of them do. Now, when it comes to collections, this is something you don't need to pay someone to get these collections removed. Oftentimes you're able to call the collections company and negotiate a lower amount in exchange for them to delete the account off of your credit history, or you can pay it in full in exchange for them to delete it off of your credit history. However, please do make sure that if they do agree to delete this off of your credit history, that you get it in writing, either a letter or an email stating that they have agreed to have this removed off of your account. That way, if for some reason you do pay the amount that you two agreed upon and it's still on your account, you're able to show that email or that letter as proof, and they will honor that. So make sure if you are negotiating with collections and they agree to remove that account off of your credit history, that you request a deletion letter. So the next step is to dispute delinquent accounts. Now, this is the one time that I would suggest, if you do not have the time to appropriately follow up with the entire dispute process, that this is when you can hire someone to help you to remove that off of your credit. However, it should not cost you an arm and a leg to have someone to remove that off of your account for you. But if you do not want to pay someone to do this for you, or you don't have the funds, you can 100% dispute these accounts on your own. You just need to monitor the entire dispute process and make sure that you are meeting due dates and things of that nature. There are many videos here on YouTube on how to dispute credit accounts. I would definitely look into that. There are some theories that say your dispute letters must be in writing. They can't be an email. There are some that say you can use this template, just sign it and send it in. I personally haven't had to dispute an account, so I can't tell you with 100% certainty what worked for me and what didn't. But I know that there are many videos here on YouTube on different processes and methods that you can use to dispute accounts. So I would definitely recommend looking into that if that's something that you're interested in doing for yourself. So guys, that is it for this video on how to get excellent credit. I absolutely love the conversations that we get into down in the comment section. So please let me know what tips that you use for repairing credit or keeping your credit good, great, excellent. I would love to know down below. If there were any tips in this video that you didn't actually know, let me know down below as well. I would love to know you guys' comments, questions, feedback, all of that good stuff. I love you guys so much. Love you to the moon and back. Be true to you.